Why fast casual just collapsed? I wonder why. People don't want to eat the slop anymore. Remember just recently when the Campbell's, one of those top guys at Campbell's, got caught on a private phone call saying basically that his food was just processed meat made for poor people? Well, they want us to eat the poor people food, but they don't want to keep it at a poor people price, and then they wonder why people don't want to buy the slop.
It's no secret that fast food companies have been struggling the last couple years.
Yeah, good.
But for
It's
a
good.
while, the fast casual brands were actually bucking that trend.
Yeah, but we got to keep them on their toes.
They were holding up better because they were offering more perceived value than traditional fast food.
Yeah.
But those days appear to be over with.
I will say I don't mind Chipotle. I think Chipotle is good, especially when I'm locked in. I can go get some steak, get some rice, hold the sour cream. It's a little bit high on the calories. I'll go get some corn in there, maybe some beans, and I'm good to go. So Chipotle I don't have a problem with, but I did like Chipotle when it was $8. I don't want $15 Chipotle. The ingredients aren't that complicated. I can make it myself with probably 30% less calories in it just because it's homemade.
Fast casual is getting hammered right now.
Yeah, I bet.
Chipotle, Kava, and Sweetgreen
Damn.
have all watched
Look at
their
that.
stock prices fall off a cliff
Oh,
recently.
my goodness.
Some down more than 50% from just a year ago.
Yeah.
And they're all saying the same thing on their earnings calls. Younger customers aren't coming as often.
I wonder why. For the past 10 years, they've been telling millennials, and now Gen Z are just starting to get into this conversation. But we've been telling Gen Z the reason you can't afford a home is because you go out to eat too much and you drink too much Starbucks. And while I do agree people should be more frugal, that's why I see this as a win. But this is people being more frugal. You said we should buckle down and save our money so we can maybe afford a house potentially. And people are doing that now. And now that they making money because people are taking them up on their advice, they're going, we were just kidding. Come on, we're buddies.
When they do, they're spending less. A study from TD Cowen backs this up. It found that unemployment, lower spending power, and higher living costs are dragging younger customers.
Younger customers 18 to 34 who make up about 40% of all restaurant guests. I didn't know that. Democratic Party liberal consumers who make up about 35% of restaurant guests. Low-income consumers who were about 31% of all restaurant guests. Hispanic consumers were about 20% of all restaurant guests. Wow. And I believe that last part because you can't throw a rock without hitting a Mexican restaurant. I'm talking about they got the trucks, they got the storefronts, and they all seem to be staying in business. I'm like, either this is a money laundering scheme or everybody who's Mexican just loves to eat out on their lunch breaks or something. I don't know, but all of them businesses are everywhere and they stay open all the time. They're like recession proof. To be honest, though, they always have good prices. They really do have good prices for what they give you. So it's no surprise.
Lower spending power, and higher living costs are dragging younger customers down.
Yeah.
And when that happens, dining out is the first thing that they cut back on.
Exactly. Good.
Chipotle, why is it $23.92 for one burrito?
Because you're paying for convenience, and because we've gotten so used to convenience that we don't want to cook anymore, they think that they can do that.
Kava costs $16 for a bowl.
Yeah.
Now, everyone knows Chipotle, but in the past, when I've mentioned Sweetgreen or Kava, there's usually a handful of comments saying that they've never heard of these places.
Never heard of it
And
either.
that's fair. Their footprint is tiny by comparison. Chipotle has nearly 4,000 locations,
Okay,
while
that's why.
Sweetgreen and Kava are
That's
still
why.
in the low hundreds. But conceptually, they're basically siblings. Sweetgreen is the salad version of Chipotle, and
Okay.
Kava is the Mediterranean version.
The Mediterranean food is very niche. I hear it's very healthy and good for you, and it adds to your longevity. So basically, your lifespan. It's very good for lifespan, but it is a very niche food, especially in America.
All three are public companies, and all three sell what people online love to call slop bowls.
Slop bowls, yeah,
Now,
baby.
here's the important part. Everything we're seeing from these companies is recession behavior. Kava's CEO, Brett Schulman, literally said this in a recent interview.
Yeah, we all feel it, so they need to feel it too.
We got a little bit of a window into what might be happening with the fast casual space when Chipotle, Mexican Grill, they really took a hit with their stock.
Dang,
when
she
they
called them by their full name, Chipotle Mexican Grill specifically.
announced that they were having the same type of difficulty. So is there anything you can do to fight that? I mean, obviously with the tariffs, it's more of a, do we raise prices, but would you consider tweaking your prices?
This is a very intense discount promotional environment, the most intense since the Great Recession.
Really?
In fact, 30% of all restaurant transactions were tied to a discount or a deal in the last 12 months.
Yeah, it's because people want the old price. We want the price that you agreed to. They got us addicted to the food, and then they thought that because we were addicted to the convenience and the taste of the food, they could slowly raise the prices, but people want the old price. I'm okay with eating the slop. Well, I'm not okay with eating the slop, but I feel a little bit better eating the slop if the slop price is reasonable. You're not going to overcharge us for slop. That's crazy. So yeah, people go when the deals are there. Like I'm going to Buffalo Wild Wings later today because it's Tuesday and they sell traditional wings at a very good deal. That's the only time I'm going, for sure.
Most consumers are clearly tapping out.
Yeah.
But here's the weird contradiction. Despite traffic slowing and restaurants everywhere scrambling for value, none of these three are offering any real value menus or meaningful discounts.
Yeah, and the bowls are getting smaller, and they thought they could get away with it because they thought that we wouldn't notice it. I don't know who came up with this bright idea, but shrinking the portions that you're giving people and then gouging your customers is probably not a good business model.
They're just holding the line, even as the customers who built these brands start pulling back.
Yeah, we holding the line too.
This is because fast casual has tried to separate themselves from fast food while still competing with them.
Yep.
They don't want to get into the value wars the same way McDonald's or Wendy's has to.
Yeah, those aren't even values anymore. They say a value meal, but then they sell it to you at a price that's pretty much double what it was 5 years ago.
And I'm not saying that won't change in the future, but as of now, they don't seem motivated to start. And to be clear, all three of these companies are in very different financial situations from even just one another. Chipotle is the biggest and frankly is still raking in billions in revenue each quarter.
Oh, they'll be all right then. They don't need my little $10, my little $15. They'll be all right.
Kava is doing okay, but has had their accelerated growth trajectory slow way down. And Sweetgreen, on the other hand, is still not profitable as a business.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. A lot of people started to become vegans in the 2010s, and then they said like the percentage of vegans just decreased by like 300%. It was a trend, and now there's not very many people that actually want to practice that in real life. So having a fast food restaurant where you're just selling people salads, I think you're missing what most people go to fast food for.
In fact, they've been losing more money this year than they did last year, which investors are finding extremely concerning given that they've been around since 2007. So not only have they been around almost 20 years and they're still not profitable, they told investors when they went public back in 2021 that they expected to be profitable by 2024.
Yeah, well, where else can you do that at? Can I own a business that's not profitable for 10 years and still have it open? I don't think so. So why should they have that luxury?
Now for Sweetgreen, this is largely due to their G&A expenses.
Yeah, if you're not profitable for 10 years or 20 years, I don't think people want what you're selling.
Which is general and administrative
costs. Can't force
costs.
us to want it.
AKA, the executives are being paid too much. But let's get into some more of the specifics here. See, Chipotle said on their earnings call that they expect their same-store sales to decline for the full year of 2025. And this metric is one of the most important ones for larger restaurant chains because it tracks revenue at existing locations that have been open for at least a year. Now, this won't come as a surprise, but investors want to see that number continuously go up.
Yeah, well, that's
Chipotle
impossible.
also warned that younger people are dining out less, saying that the 25 to 34-year-old group is pulling back and they're eating at home instead.
Yeah.
Sweetgreen reported a decline of almost 10% in same-store sales over the third quarter compared to a year ago. Their CFO said on the call that the 25 to 35-year-old consumer is the most under pressure.
Yeah.
And they make up about 30% of their consumer base.
Yeah, have you seen the repo rates? Have you seen the foreclosures? Have you seen the unemployment? And that's really just propped up on gig economy jobs where they tell you to use your own car and then don't give you health insurance to deliver food. And they rely on the customers to basically tip you to pay you instead of paying you a reasonable wage. So yeah, of course, those people aren't going to be the ones eating the fast food. They're the ones delivering the fast food now.
Now, sales from that demographic dropped roughly 15%. That's quite a steep drop. But then again, they're selling salads that range from $14 to $20. Sweetgreen is probably the most expensive of the three fast casual chains.
$14 to $20 is actually an insane price point. For that money, I can go get a ribeye at Texas Roadhouse. So I'm getting rolls. I'm getting a ribeye. I'm getting maybe even a shrimp skewer, some french fries on the side, 2 different sides. Come on now. Why would I go to Sweetgreens when I could get a ribeye or salmon? 8-ounce salmon from Texas Roadhouse.
And it's really starting to hurt them. Kava's CEO pushed back on the notion that they're selling overpriced meals. He said on the call, quote, "Well, the reality is you can get a chicken fillet at Kava with all the toppings included, 3 different spreads, greens, and grains for $10.65 to our highest price of $13 in New York City.
Yeah, you're getting
So
cooked.
that's a sub $13 bowl in the most expensive market, not a $20 lunch. And here's the thing all three of these companies are hinting at, even if they don't want to say it directly. They've priced themselves into a corner.
Exactly.
For years, fast casual brands relied on steady traffic and consistent price hikes to drive growth.
Right.
While some took more price hikes than others, for a while, customers tolerated it because everything else was inflated too. A $12 to $14 bowl didn't feel outrageous when rent, car payments, and groceries were all exploding at the same time.
Oh, no, it still felt outrageous. It definitely still felt outrageous. I just think that people weren't quite at that breaking point yet like they might be now.
But that cycle has clearly hit its limit.
Uh-huh.
You can only push prices so far before people begin to pull back. And it's clearly been a war of attrition on the consumer.
If you want to get pissed off, look at the price of Chipotle from just a few years ago. A steak burrito was $6.85.
Yes, bro.
I got one burrito extra meat. And I'm thinking like $23 for a burrito with extra meat.
Crazy.
The amount of meat it probably should have had, but you guys give us so little of meat that we have to ask for an extra serving.
Exactly.
And this plate cost me $17.
They give you a bowl full of rice and like a tablespoon full of protein.
I paid $17 for this.
All three of these companies are saying the same thing, just in slightly different ways, that the consumer is finally hitting a wall.
Yeah.
And in my eyes, what makes this moment different is who is pulling back here. See, these brands don't rely on lower income customers the same way traditional fast food does, like McDonald's. Chipotle said 40% of their customer base makes less than $100,000 a year. Those numbers are likely similar or perhaps even higher for Sweetgreen and Kava because they have less locations overall.
Right.
And a lot of the locations that they do have are over-indexed in high cost of living areas.
Of course, yep.
So all three
Makes
are
sense.
catering to a very similar core audience, higher earning millennials and Gen Z. And for a while, these were the exact people who were supposed to be insulated from some of these economic woes. All of this is to say, when even they are cutting back, I think it's a sign that the broader economy is a lot more fragile than the headlines make it seem.
I seen a article that said like 60% of Gen Z that are making $100,000 or more are still living paycheck to paycheck. And I do think it's obviously a spending habit problem. We do have bad spending habits. Companies spend billions of dollars on marketing to try to convince you that you need their products, and they don't do it because it doesn't work, right? So we live in kind of like a big old mall with a big old billboard always trying to get you to consume, and I think it works. I think a lot of people overconsume, and that is a problem. And I think that's why most people who are making over $100,000 are living paycheck to paycheck, but we can't ignore the fact that it's objectively true that everything is getting significantly more expensive at a faster and faster pace.
And I've made this point before, but if you think about it, if you're in your mid-20s or early 30s right now, everything in your life is more expensive. Rent is record high. Groceries are still expensive, even if they want to say CPI as moderated. Insurance is insane. Student loans came back. And most of all, wages aren't keeping up anymore. So when you layer all of that together, the first thing that's going to go is this $15 to $20 lunch habit.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what we're seeing. I know most of you watching this probably aren't shocked by this. Restaurants across the board have been struggling.
Yeah, I seen something that said it's like $13.75 a day. If you spend $13.75 a day, that adds up to $5,000 at the end of the year. So if somebody's going to get a casual lunch every day and it's equaling $20, they're going to spend like $7,500 worth of the money that they make just on eating lunch every day. That's not including like getting to work, car insurance, just all the different things that come with life. So yeah, a lot of people are going to pull back on that.
A lot of that comes down to the fact that the prices went up way faster than wages. The pandemic era cost increases never fully reset. And now the consumer is finally tapping out. Personally, I'm of the belief that we're already in a recession.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
not an official one. And I know some people have been saying that at different points over the last few years, but right now the data actually lines up with how people are feeling. The thing propping up GDP right now isn't the consumer, at least not the average one. It's the billions of dollars tech companies are dumping into AI.
Yeah, they're like, everything is okay because look, graph go up on the stock market. And I'm like, what? Like, who's really invested in the stock market? Like 5% of the people. So the people who have the money to invest in the stock market are making more money in the stock market. And they don't want to announce that it's a recession because if they do, the house of cards fall because then people start pulling out of the only thing that's propping it up, and that's the stock market, right?
If that spending all of a sudden disappeared tomorrow, the economy would look a lot more like what most Americans are experiencing.
Yeah.
And fast casual chains like Chipotle, Cava, and Sweetgreen are already living in that reality. Now, speaking of AI, a lot of these big companies are already using it as an excuse to cut staff,
Yep.
even in jobs that AI can't actually
Yep,
do.
they can't wait.
It's basically become the new corporate cheat code.
Yeah, they'll replace you with immigrants. They'll replace you with AI. They just want to replace you so they don't have to pay you. And it's coming quicker and quicker. They told us that AI was going to be like this revolutionary technology, and all I see it doing is concentrating power into a smaller minority of people and taking people's livelihood. 10 toes down, feet in the sand, stand your ground. If we feel it, they have to feel it too. And I'm happy that people are becoming more frugal. It makes sense to me. Let me know in the comments below if this video is a WRL, and give me the HBO special. That's a Help Brother Out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.